Hi. So this week I've been looking at the question, what is digital? And realizing that it's really useful to hang a definition on that. And the definition I've been using is digital is the use of digital technology to transform results. So I've been looking at the different areas of digital, the different activities that we might do in the digital world. And today I want to zoom in on digital social media, what we often call social media. Things like Facebook, Twitter, whatever today's big game-changing social media platform is. So any social media platform that's online is something that effectively allows you to link in with a certain group of people, LinkedIn of course being another one, and exchange messages directly with them without that being moderated by a third party too much. And digital social media is an interesting channel for us as fundraisers, because it's something that's often seen really as just another venue for advertising. It's something that, okay, that's great because we can find and target a specific group of people based on their network and their preferences that they've previously expressed, and that can give us a really tight target group to put some adverts in front of. We can also push content out in the hope that people who are in that group will see it. But if we simply concentrate on social media in that way, we really do miss the trick, and we'll simply be using digital technology to deliver what we were doing before, which is, I think there's a demographic that's appropriate for me, I'm going to push some advertising their way. We were doing that before, and that really isn't what social media can deliver for us if we actually look at the real power of it. So to understand what the power of digital social media is, we really have to understand that there are two things that it allows us to do very differently from what we've done before. They're quite different. I mean, one is that we actually are able to listen very, very easily to what supporters and non-supporters are saying about us. And this is really interesting for marketers, because as marketers, we often think that our job is to project the brand, that actually it's our job to get out there and tell everybody what we're all about. But of course, a really good definition of brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. And what digital social media allows us to do is to go listen to what people are saying about us when we're not in the room. And that's incredibly telling, because actually what they say about us is that closing of the feedback loop that allows us to see which bits of our brand presentation are actually working, which are landing, and which are getting lost in the noise, and people really don't recognize us for the things that we think we should be recognized for. So that social listening aspect is absolutely vital, even if it's somebody following some key Twitter accounts and searching for the name of your organization and just kind of compiling a report that says these were the kind of conversations that were happening about us on a regular basis. That is a great step forward in terms of really unlocking that feedback loop on brand, actually making this really transformative. But the second way in which social media can transform our results comes from a very different aspect of it, and that's the idea that people are freely sharing content. Now, as social media has kind of matured, I wouldn't say it's very mature just yet, but it's been around for a few years, we're seeing that one of the things that happens on social media is that people are really projecting their best self. They're projecting their values, and they're saying, hey, this is me and this is my life, in a way that's generally quite positive. And, you know, as charities, we would hope that one of the things that people would share in that kind of context is the work that they're doing to support us. We can certainly see that social media plays a key part when it comes to individuals who are directly fundraising. So if I'm going to run a marathon for your charity, I'm going to be shouting about that on social media in order to get people to come and sponsor me. And also, because that kind of makes me look good. That's part of the deal that I get for supporting the organisation in that particular way. So what that means for us as charities is, well, people are potentially going to be talking about us, but they might not do that off their own bat. They might think about the different parts of their life and say, well, what is it easy for me to do? I made this wonderful meal, I can take a photo of it, I can share that. I went on this wonderful holiday, I can take a photo of the sunset, I can share that. Those things are quite easy to share. Someone's support for a charity can be really a little bit intangible. And so when it comes to our expectation, we might think actually it's going to be quite difficult for somebody to share their support of a charity on social media. And that's a real problem, because we know as charities that we talk to particular kinds of people at a certain stage in life, a certain socio-demographic group are much more likely to be supporters of ours than perhaps people at a different stage or with a different amount of money in their pocket. And of course, when we find a supporter, we have to acknowledge that a lot of their friends are going to look like them. So if we're missing the trick, we're missing the opportunity to have that person share some content about their support of our charity, we're missing an incredibly tightly targeted approach to a group of people who would probably be really receptive to that and at the same stage in their emotional and lifetime journey. Another thing, of course, is that we are increasingly distrustful of advertising, and we increasingly rely on social media and reviews, the views of others, to verify that things are okay, things are kosher. So if I'm looking to support a charity, somebody else that I know and respect supporting that charity is hugely influential in my decision to take that forward, or perhaps to choose something else. So how do we do that? How do we transform our results rather than just displaying some adverts and hoping that that prompts somebody who's a supporter to say, hey, I'm supporting this charity? How do we take that to the next level? Well, it comes back to content. I spoke earlier in the week about the need for digital channels to have small pieces of content that can be used in particular ways. And what we want to do on social media is give people access to a rich raft of content that they can share. So content that's particularly crafted for the purpose of sharing. Now, I'm not talking here about a celebrity ambassador program where we ask a celebrity who happens to support our cause, will you put out some messages on social media? I'm talking about ordinary supporters who know people who are just like the folks who we typically see getting a rewarding relationship with our charity as a supporter. How can we give them the content that they need? This isn't about drafting something for one particular person. This is about putting together a whole panel of content that we can drip out onto social media. It's about actually asking those people, will you be an ambassador for us? Will you share some of our messages? And what's interesting there is we've gotten a little bit uncomfortable with the idea of asking for money for charity. It's much less easy now to simply say, hey, I'm doing a marathon, please support me, because we're getting a little bit tired of that. There's a little bit of ask fatigue going on, isn't there? We've seen that in results. So the kind of content that we're looking for is definitely not conversion content. It's not, please will you do the same thing I'm doing and pay some money to do this thing. It's interest content. It's, if you share my values and I have this set of values that causes me to support this charity, then you'll be interested in this because this really resonates with our values and this is something that we would want to share. If you can produce that kind of content and you can enlist some social media ambassadors who are not influencers, not celebrities, but ordinary people who have a wide network of people that they speak to, because we kind of do on social media these days. If you can enlist those people and find the right content to share with them, the effects can be transformative. Some of the work that I've done with various different institutions, non-profit institutions here in the UK, has proved dramatic results in a very, very short time. One client that I work with took an event that they were trying to promote that was, something where effectively the number of people that attended that event was going to drive the amount of money that they got for it. And in a matter of a few days was able to enlist some social media ambassadors, share the content around the topic that they were talking around, and deliver tens of % improvement in terms of the overall result that achieved in a few days. So just imagine what a sustained program of social media ambassadors can do. If you can provide content to your supporters that firstly lets them look good, and secondly is interesting to them and potentially interesting to their friends, it will be shared. And that's a huge benefit to you in putting your name and brand in front of people who haven't heard of your charity before, or even more critically, engaging them with your cause, helping them to understand what's different about you as an organisation. Why would they share the values that you have? Once you've done that a few times, then the process of moving them down the conversion funnel, turning them into paying supporters, you've kind of done most of the work. So that's what digital social media can do to transform results. Firstly, it's around listening and enable you to hear what people are saying when you're not in the room, close the feedback loop on your brand. And secondly, it's about enabling folks to share their support for your charity and allowing you to enlist the help of those thousands of people who are already fans of yours to go and find some more. Till next time.